Hi everyone and welcome back to our very special behind the scenes tour. Now if you didn't already know, Heritage Conservation Centre's mission is to manage, care for and facilitate access to our national collections. They provide exhibition support to 11 museums and institutions under the Visual Arts Cluster and National Heritage Board's umbrella. Now today we'll be meeting a few of these conservators who I'm so excited to meet, and that's why I'm dressed like this. Now, they'll be showing us how they actually conserve our national treasure. The first conservator we'll be meeting knows everything about paper. I wonder what is he going to show us.
Oh, hey Warwick, welcome to the Conservation Labs.
Hey Vignesh, so on my way up I saw a few of these artifacts that you guys conserve.
Oh, so we have a wide range of artifacts and artworks in the collection, and there are 4 different conservation sections: the objects, paintings, textiles and paper sections. And the key role for this department is to conserve our cultural heritage through preventive and interventive means.
And what are you working on right now?
Oh, let me show you.
Is that Milo?
Oh yeah, it's a paper carrier bag from the 1960s to 1970s, and it's a bag from Nestle with the Milo adverts on the sides.
1960s to 1970s, well, that's a really long time ago. Come, let's take a closer look at this. Look at the words, they're even in traditional Chinese, we don't see that often anymore. And I noticed there are some tears here.
Alright, so tears are common damages on paper. I mean, they tend to happen because of mishandling. So,
I mean, what do you do when there are tears?
Paper is really sensitive, so we try to provide good housing and good housekeeping also, and also ensure that the environmental controls are stable and within specs for paper.
And you use some of these tools to kind of fix this?
Yeah, so with the interventive treatment, what I'm going to be doing for these tears along the folds, I'll be using some sympathetic materials like the Japanese tissue and the Weed-starch paste.
This is the Weed-starch paste?
Yeah, this
right.
Weed-starch paste.
And do you use some of these tools for this as well?
So the stenciling and then the brushing and the application, all these tools come in handy for all these steps in the treatment process.
And how does this kind of a box looking thing come into place?
So that is my stuffing that I plan to use when I do some of the more complicated areas of treatment. So I would stuff the box to give it that shape.
And this paper, what do you do with it?
So we call this Japanese tissue, and it's usually made from kozo fibers. It's a mulberry plant fiber, and they come in different weights and tones, and usually we select the one that matches best for the artifact,
right,
and the treatment that you want to take on. So we slot them in, and then we also put them on top. So it depends on where the tears are and stuff.
Can you show me how it works?
Not right now, because I'm still in discussions with the collections manager on how to best store this.
Okay.
So, but if you're interested to see something more exciting, I think you might want to go to the painting section. We have a conservator over there that's probably working on something exciting. If you
just down there?
Yeah, just over there.
Okay, cool. Thanks so much.
Bye.
See you. Wow, what a magnificent painting!
Oh, hi, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, this is a piece by George Goslier. Yeah, so he's a French artist born in Cambodia, and it's called Brahmanism, a meditating forest hermit in front of a linga. So as you can see, it's quite huge. It's about 1 meter by 1.8 meters. 1.8
meters, that's a bit taller than me and you, I think. And I noticed there are some white patches here. Did the painting come with it?
No, they don't come with this. So these are actually areas of losses. Yeah, so when it first arrived, it was actually rolled up. Yeah, so when we unroll them, we actually found these areas of losses. So these are called infills.
Infills, right.
And then we do texturing, because you can see the surface of the painting is pretty three-dimensional. Yeah, and you can see brush strokes actually all over the painting.
Right.
Yeah. So what we want to do is to match the texture with the surrounding paint areas, such that when we do in painting afterwards, you don't see like weird depressions in the surround, like in the painting.
So I mean, for this painting, it has already like the in-painting's been done already?
Yeah, actually, can you tell? Just by looking at the painting, there are actually areas which are in painted and they previously look like this.
No, I can't tell. Which part of it is already done?
So we can take a closer look. It's this area. So what in painting does is, you know, when you in paint a painting and then you look at it in the gallery, you don't want your eyes to be distracted by damages. Yeah, but here's the catch. So if you take a closer look, close enough, you should still be able to distinguish the in painting from the original. So you don't want to just, you know, like how you would paint your own painting, just take a brush and then mix the colors on the palette and then just paint all over the canvas.
Right.
So this technique that I'm using for this painting is called rigatino, and I only use 4 colors on my palette.
4 colors, okay.
Would you like to guess what the colors are?
Oh right, let me try to guess what the colors are. It's blue,
Yeah.
red, yellow, and this is a bit greenish. No?
This is a lighter yellow actually.
Lighter yellow.
Yeah.
Okay, I got 3 out of 4 right.
Yeah. So what we do is actually we put independently the colors into the infill areas, yeah, by lines. Yeah. So according to the amount of each color that we use, you can actually construct a form or like a pattern that when you view it from afar, it actually blends in with the surrounding. Yeah. So it's like you can get a shade or like a hue.
Right.
Yeah. So just for example, if we want an area that is like a dark green with a warmer tone, yeah. So what colors make dark green?
You put more blue, I think?
Right, blue and yellow make green.
Right.
Yeah. So we put more blue, you are right, because it darkens the tone. And then we won't put so much yellow in this case because it lightens the tone.
Right.
And then to make it warmer, we will put a bit more red lines.
Okay. So I
Yes.
got this right, I can be a painter already.
Okay. Sure.
So, I mean, so much work goes behind this in painting, but why do we need to have this? I mean, what's the purpose of all this conservation?
Why do we do such a laborious process,
Yeah.
right? Instead of like, you know, just painting. Yeah, this is because as with any conservation treatment, it is always very important that we keep in mind to respect the original intent of the artist.
Right. I can see that this is really detailed. I mean, especially when you go through like all the different strokes and all that. Seems like you need a lot of patience. And I guess the other question would be, what goes behind the kind of decisioning process when we're talking about conservation treatments?
So yeah, so you're right. There's like a lot of considerations that go into the decision-making process, but I think my colleague, he can actually, you know, give you more insight about this decision-making process.
Okay.
Yes, why don't you look for him? He's in the objects lab.
Okay, sure.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Hi, you must be Leon.
Hi!
Wow, what's this? Is it a tuba?
Yes, this is a tuba that's going to be on display at the Changi Chapel Museum.
And what's the story behind this?
This tuba belongs to a prisoner of war in Singapore during the World War II.
Right, and how do you know all this?
Come look at the engraving. So there's this engraving, DD stands for Defense Department, AIF stands for Australian Imperial Force, from the 30th Battalion, A Force.
Ah, BN for battalion.
Yes.
And I noticed there's some engravings here. What was that all about?
So this engraving belongs to the manufacturers. So you can see details of the manufacturers, the areas that it was manufactured, and then this is the serial number.
Right, right. And wow, there's some stains here. Are you going to like discolor it off or what?
Yep. So before we even do the conservation and the cleaning and the polishing, we need to find out where this instrument is manufactured, what materials that it goes into its manufacturing.
Right, so all this kind of gives you the history of this artifact. And how does this history kind of help you in terms of the conservation efforts?
Yeah, it definitely helped me. So for an object, it carries a lot of significant history, and this is many of the time museums. The reason why museum collects the artifacts.
Right, right.
Yep. So from the tarnish that you mentioned, and then on some of the degradation on the loss here.
Ah, I noticed there's some like yellowish discoloration here.
That's actually a loss of the plating on the surface. So that's the gold part is actually the materials that's beneath the plating. So from these two degradation signs, we sort of think that this materials is silver-plated brass that is used to manufacture the tuba.
Right, so I mean, with this artifact, you have to clean, polish it, and that's done, right?
Not exactly. Well, we did a scientific analysis to confirm the materials that were used to manufacture it. And from there, we also find out that there is lead in the tuba.
Right.
So before we clean it, we have to protect ourselves. So like the lab coat you're wearing, the gloves that I'm wearing, and also a mask before we start cleaning and polishing the tuba.
Right. And
Yeah. So to tell you a bit more about the polishing, you can take a look here. So you could see two color differences. So here has the tarnish part. Here is the more after the cleaning and polishing. So for silverware, often our time when you keep polishing, silver is always lost in the process. So to actually retain as much of the materials as possible, we actually only clean the black tarnish areas to blend the surface and to get a more harmonious outlook.
right, okay.
Yep.
And I'm guessing this tuba is probably made out of one or two materials?
Yes, so this tuba basically is generally made out of two materials. But my colleagues from the textile sections is working on a pair of hangings that has much more components that you might be interested.
Multiple components, a lot more than this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it.
See you.
Bye-bye. Wow, are these the hangings that Leon was talking about?
Yeah,
Hi, Warwick.
Hello, hi.
Yeah, this is the one. So this pair of Peranakan hangings are from Peranakan Museum. They are made in Indonesia in the early 20th century.
Right, and I noticed there are two panels here. Is it because both of you are working on it together?
Yes, we are. So because these pieces are quite large, so working on them together saves us some time.
I see. And why don't you just share with me more about your conservation process here?
Yeah, so right now we've actually just completed documentation. So this is where we learn more about the textile. For example, where the losses are, how big they are, as well as like the entangled threads that you see over at that corner. And right now we're actually looking to begin surface cleaning.
Surface cleaning, as in you mean vacuuming or washing the thing?
Yep, vacuuming. So we use a museum vacuum cleaner, so they have very low suction that is gentle to the artifact.
Right, and what's this paper there with the different kind of fabrics there?
It's good that you've asked. This is actually kind of like our recipe for reproducing dye colors. So because we have some losses, we're looking to reproduce the colors that are where the losses are. So for example, this is a red fabric. If I cover it, it's not so obtrusive to the viewer in the museum.
Right,
Yep.
and what other information is on this paper?
Yeah, so actually we've got about 20 years of these recipes piled up. So that makes our job more efficient
20
actually.
years worth of data.
Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. And I mean, once you dye that fabric and kind of patch it up, does it mean this piece is ready for exhibition?
Not yet. So the tangledness that Geraldine pointed out, so we need to untangle it and then couch it down so that it's aligned. So to do that, I actually use this very fine needle.
Oh, this is really tiny.
So we have to spend hours stitching it down. So we do need to take a regular breaks.
Oh, I cannot imagine holding this and threading it for the whole day.
Yes.
So actually before the break, I just want to share that we still have to mount this textile. So that's when we make it ready for display.
Wow, sounds like we have quite a while to go. So why not we take a short break first?
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yes.
Bubble tea?
Bubble tea.
Definitely.
Let's go.
You know that after looking at all these treatment methods done by the conservators, you must agree that it's such an incredible work. And for myself, it's helped me to appreciate the artifacts and national collection even more. Kudos to the conservators for putting in so much effort and passion and patience in keeping our national collection at tip-top condition. Now, with the 20th anniversary of the Heritage Conservation Centre coming to an end, I hope you had as much fun as I did. And it's been such an amazing journey to be able to talk to the conservators and understand the work that goes behind it. Now, if you think you have what it takes to be a conservator, why not you consider to be part of the team? For now, signing off, I'm Warwick, and you know what? I'm just going to see if I can be a conservator as well.